Filmmaker Commentary, episode 163. Welcome to Filmmaker Commentary, where we cover movies with commentaries from directors who take the time to record them on Blu-ray and DVDs.
We also give our detailed insights, so look out for spoilers.
We discuss the latest in showbiz news along with movies and TV shows that we've been watching.
So join Reginald Titus Jr.
That's me. And KCG Smith.
That's me. Every week here on Filmmaker Commentary.
Welcome to another episode of Filmmaker Commentary. I'm Reginald Titus Jr. I'm joined with
KCG Smith.
Welcome back, sir.
Good to be back, sir.
And today we're talking about Hard 8, written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Came out in 1997. What was the budget and box office for this film?
So for the Hard 8, it came in on a $3 million budget.
Yeah.
And burst out of the box office with a whopping $223,000.
Wow. That's an L.
That's a hard L.
Pun intended.
A hard L.
Yes, man. What happened? Did anybody?
Not a damn thing. Nothing. Nada. Zilp. Zitch. Zero.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
Nobody was expecting this film. They didn't go and see it. This is one of the biggest flops I've ever seen. I don't remember the last time. Well, I actually may have been another one of these film festival films where I said, "Oh, it only made in the thousands, didn't break $1 million."
Oh, was The Last Black Man? Did it break $1 million? I don't remember. But A24 knows how to get their money. But I don't
think it did.
Yeah, that was the other one. They took an L.
I was like, "Yeesh."
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. That's this one. Only $223K. That's a distribution problem.
That's what
and a marketing problem.
I was like, who pissed who off?
But to be fair, I never even heard of this film.
I didn't
until a few a week and some change ago. But apparently nobody else did when it came out.
How did you hear about it? Or should we talk about that later in the show?
I was just looking through films that had some acclaim at film festivals and popped up, and I saw the key art and I was like, oh, I know Samuel. Oh, I like John C. Reilly. I like Gwyneth Paltrow too. Yeah. This couldn't be bad. Right. And so here we are.
Because I remember, because Paul Thomas Anderson is one of those guys, because we covered him Boogie Nights. And so I thought Boogie Nights was his first film. And then I remember seeing Hard. I was like, okay, this is a film I might have to go to. But just looking at the key art, I'm like, God, I don't want to.
You weren't the only one.
Yeah, it looked like they didn't try. You look at the key art, like, what happened here?
It's just throw some pictures.
Yeah, it's green.
Magnets.
The key art's green. Like, the color is green.
Yeah, and there's this weird, Christmas song that plays. I'm like, I got no impression that this film had anything to do with the holidays.
Dude, I don't know what was going on.
More to explore.
Yeah. But, so, did this movie get nominated for any awards or anything like that?
The Hard 8. Well, it did get some acclaim initially at some of the film festivals. So let's see what's going down here. So the Hard 8, it was a short scroll, but it was nominated for the Golden Camera Award at the Cannes Film Festival. And the Los Angeles Film Critics Association Awards won the New Generation Award, Mr. Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay.
Boston Film Critics Award, the Best New Filmmaker, Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay.
And the Film Independent Spirit Awards, bunch of nominations for Samuel L., for John S. Lyons as a producer, along with Robert Jones and Paul Thomas Anderson as the director. Yeah, and also for Philip Baker Hall for lead performance, screenplay by Paul Thomas Anderson, and best cinematography by Robert Elswit.
Yeah. What was like the sentiment at the time? Did you ever catch anything?
Nobody.
Nothing.
This film didn't catch much anything. Crickets.
Siskel, Ebert, they covered it. But it seemed like they were just they gave it some positive vibe for it, Mainly the main character that played Sidney, the actor.
Yeah.
Philip
Baker.
Philip Baker. They gave him a lot of praise, just kind of coming out like, dude, he was like, man, after this, he's going to get a lot of work. that's what they said on that show, and then that clip just kind of cut off. It was like that was it. It was only like a 3-minute clip.
Cut next.
Yeah,
move on.
Even the coverage was short. So that's the only thing I was able to pull up for any kind of sentiment or anything they reviewed.
I saw the box office. I was like, nobody has much anything to say because not enough people would have seen this. Because it's just, it's kind of unfortunate. Overall, I'd say it's a solid film. I think it's something that if you were scrolling through and and looking for something to watch, a quick, fairly enjoyable film,
right?
Then you pop it on, you watch it, and
that's how movies work,
and you move on. Is that how it goes? I just want to confirm, but I could recommend it if you're just chilling and have nothing else better to do.
Nothing at all. I don't think. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But before we talk further about Hard 8, let's talk about TV, news, and movies watched.
So according to Deadline, The Last of Us debuts at number 6 on the Nielsen streaming charts, outpacing House of the Dragon viewership. The Last of Us officially hit the Nielsen streaming charts for the week of January 16th through 22nd with 837 minutes viewed. That outpaces viewership from another HBO hit, House of the Dragon, in the same interval. Despite premiering the week prior, the series didn't make the charts because episode 1 had only been available for a few hours when Nielsen's measurement window closed. However, Nielsen did note that in just those few hours, the Pedro Pascal-led series accumulated 223 million viewing minutes. Nielsen streaming measurements only account for viewing on HBO Max, so the numbers don't reflect any viewership on HBO's linear channel.
Okay.
So, The Last of Us, doing well.
Yeah. And you've been keeping up with that one.
Yes, sir. Very much so in enjoying it.
Any more news?
No, that was it.
Okay. What have you been watching?
So I'll start off with some trailers. We just had the big game take place, and for those of you who stay attuned to Filmmaker Commentary, of course we missed the past couple of weeks. We had some things happening in life, nature taking its course. We had some pretty tumultuous weather here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas. For those who don't know, in Texas, yes, we can get ice and snow. And that happened in a very dangerous way, so we had to forego recording a few weeks back. And then, of course, there was life that came.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Our very own Reginald Titus welcoming another addition to his family. Congratulations, Reginald.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir. So, but nonetheless, we are back.
Yes, we are.
We are here. And so during the big game, of course, is a popular time for lots of commercials and trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And so one that you guys know, resident nerd here, that I absolutely loved was for the long-awaited, controversial Flash.
Yes.
DC, Warner Brothers, dropped the Flash trailer on us. And oh my goodness, what a trailer they dropped.
Did you watch it like during the Super Bowl, or did you catch it like later?
I watched it during the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah, I was kind of waiting
surprise.
for it. Yeah, I was like, yo, it was fire. This trailer was absolute. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I knew Michael Keaton was going to be in the film.
Yeah.
And the way they revealed him, I mean, they had the Danny Elfman score going. Yeah. Like for me, I'm glad Ezra Miller is getting help for his personal issues.
Is he getting help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
I haven't been keeping up with him.
Yeah, he's getting help for his personal issues, and I can separate the artist from the art.
Right.
I will be in line first day for the Flash. Flash is also one of my favorite characters since childhood.
Same here.
And yeah, man, it looks fantastic. I love the taking the storyline from the Flashpoint, which was anyway. They're doing that. They've already adapted it before, previously animated in one of DC's best animated features, the Flashpoint Paradox. If you want to do a little research, but yeah, the trailer was incredible. You got freaking Zod showing back up. I'm curious what other Easter eggs, what other characters we'll see. We got Kara. We got Supergirl in the mix. So Yeah, it looked absolutely amazing. I don't even want to see anything else. I don't need another trailer, nothing. I'm like,
yeah, because a lot's going on in that trailer in the first place. I'm like, yeah, you gotta be careful there.
I did hear from some outlet sources that those who have seen like early viewings of it or early buzz out of Warner Brothers is that some are calling it like a masterpiece. Which again, that's a big word to throw around for any film.
I know we brought that up on our last podcast. I was like, ooh, wow. I was like, let's
I'm just saying what I heard.
Week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was
masterpiece.
Yeah, man. But the way the trailer came out was like, what? I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I saw the trailer as well. I didn't catch it like during the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. It was kind of in and out. But I did watch it the same day as the Super Bowl because I was like, okay, we caught like the last portion of the trailer. So I was like, okay, let's go on YouTube and check it out. So my sons, everybody is just like thrilled and can't wait to watch. They're unaware of like the drama behind the scenes with the actor and all that stuff.
Sure.
They're unfazed by that. But yeah, everybody's excited to watch. It actually comes out on my third kid's birthday. So,
nice.
So Caden, it'll be available on his birthday. That's how.
Heck yeah!
So everybody's gonna be there.
Heck yeah!
Yeah, but looking at it, I was like, I'm sign me up.
Yeah, it looks freaking awesome. And one thing I am curious about, other people were too. Like, there's one clip where it looks like almost the Nolan Bat cycle, like rolling through the streets.
Oh yeah.
And people are like, wait, is that Nolan Batman? I'm like, I don't know. It might be. So that I'm curious about. I think it's still Keaton. I don't think Christian Bale is in this. I looked on IMDb to see if his name popped up. But who knows? It's a time traveling, so they might pull like a Spider-Man No Way Home and bring in Batmans from 3 different eras.
That's fun. Yeah, that's cool when you can kind of do that, and that's kind of like the whole point. I think. You can do whatever you want to do in movies.
The fan service.
The Spider-Man movie, that one when they were able to do that, I was like, yeah, anything's possible.
Yeah, that was.
And to get the actors to kind of like get on board to do that.
Oh yeah, they all enjoyed like seeing each other, meeting each other because they're part of a special fraternity.
Yeah,
they got to play Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see this one.
Yeah, I'm very excited. The other film trailer that I'd seen, which I'd already seen one trailer before, was for the last edition. Speaking of DC and Marvel, all tied together now through one James Gunn, who is now head of DC Studios, executive. But of course, his last film with Marvel, the finale of the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, Volume 3. And so they showed another trailer for that, just more of kind of what it entails.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be it's going to be a bittersweet ending. This is their final journey. So some people I don't think are gonna make it.
No, I mean you got to.
Yeah, it might. I don't know. Who knows with James Gunn? I don't know. It might end okay. Well, they might go off in the sunset. They might retire, but I think at least one person will pass.
Get the X.
Yeah.
Was the trailer like exciting enough to make you want to like watch it? I mean, I think most people are going to watch it regardless, but how was the trailer? I didn't see the newest one.
Man, Flash kind of overshadowed everything. Like I remember seeing it, I was like, but see, here's the thing for that one. Like they just gave like a teaser. Like they had you go online to watch the full trailer. I'm like, okay, we're trying to save some money here. Like, so I went on YouTube and watched it.
Okay.
And I mean, it looks good. But I see there's a foreboding darkness over it. But I'm interested to see how they handle High Evolutionary, how they handle Adam Warlock, what happens with Rocket and seeing more of his origin.
Oh, that's right. I did see that first trailer.
But and then we'll to see what's going on with Gamora, this alternate Gamora, and what her status is with the Guardians. So I don't really care too much about what happens with Peter Quill. I'm kind of over Peter Quill.
Yeah.
And then Drax is my guy too. But also seeing what happens more with Peter Quill and I don't want to get that spoiler away. But so anyway, But that's all the trailers I can remember. How about you? Any other trailers?
No, I haven't. I've seen the teaser trailer for Invincible season 2.
Ooh,
it's kind of meta there. It's worth checking out there.
Heck yeah, because season 1
Man, I've been waiting.
I've gone back and watched season 1.
Wow,
about 3 times.
I think wow.
It goes fast. We're done.
Yeah, that one's good. And then the comic book going like. I actually read some digital versions of the comic book. I was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I've got like the first compendium of that. Like, yeah, I read through the whole freaking thing.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
So I've been waiting on that. So yeah, that was the reason I saw that one today, actually.
Once again, our man Stephen Yeun providing the voice of one invincible Mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well done. That's it for trailers.
What you been watching?
Me, the family, we watched on our scary movie night, a film called Incarnate.
Okay.
That's on Netflix. So Netflix has quite a bit going on there. But here's a quick summary. A scientist with the ability to enter the subconscious minds of the possessed must save a young boy from the grips of a demon with powers never seen before, or facing the horrors of his own past. Yeah, I give it like a 6 out of 10. But I mean, the kids loved it. They again, an 11-year-old kid, they get, bothered by some spirit and, must overcome that. That seems to be the thing.
Okay.
And so the kids are kind of loving that, seeing a kid overcome these obstacles.
Yeah. You have the power.
Yes.
Awesome. So in preparation for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania dropping this weekend, I revisited the first Ant-Man on Disney Plus. Still hold up, still good, still a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So we visited that. Probably will check out Ant-Man and the Wasp in the days to come before I go and see the film this weekend.
Okay.
But one thing I did find out that's streaming on Disney Plus, which I wish there was more advertisement for, is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So for those of you who are not familiar, Moon Girl, Lafayette Luna is the character's name, but young African American female who's considered within Marvel Comics to be like potentially the smartest person in the MCU, like smarter than Reed Richards and Tony Stark, all those people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's an African American character, like really on the forefront of the like STEM kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But she's also got this psychic bond with this dinosaur.
It's in the animation, or what is it?
Yeah, it's like animated.
Okay.
It's like the first season dropped, but to me, I felt it dropped quietly because I've read some of the comics, and I think it's I think she's a great role model. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I got a notice. I was like, oh, this is here. It's the whole season. Like, oh, it's like 9 episodes or so.
Snuck that one in.
Yeah, but I'm definitely gonna start watching that. I want to check that out. I want to support that. But yeah, Devil Dinosaur.
Okay.
Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, excuse me.
Moon Girl. Yeah, when I think Moon, I think of the Moon. What was the one with the guy with the white outfit on? Moon Knight?
Moon Knight?
Yeah. Didn't watch an episode. I was kind of feeling the vibe of what people were saying. I was like, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, it started off strong.
Yeah.
It kind of fizzled at the end. And I love Moon Knight. Mark Spector, that's my dude.
Yeah.
They leaned more into the mystique of Moon Knight versus I like more the grittier style, like when he's just like straight vigilante beating people up.
Okay.
Is what it is.
One last thing that I checked out. I saw about half of this film. It kind of caught me by surprise. I'm going through Netflix just trying to like, I'll add this to the list kind of thing.
The list that never really shrinks. It's
right.
Got
just
stuff
grows. Just grows.
10 years ago. I'm going to get around to that.
One of these days. It's called The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Okay.
It's a Western by the Coen brothers. And I got about 60 minutes in. It's about 2 hours long, but it's like each it's different. What do you call it when it's
anthology?
It's like 10 to 15 minutes for each story, and I don't know how many stories they have, but I'm at least maybe 5 stories in. But the first story just like took me away. I'm just like, I gotta keep watching this.
What year did this come out?
I don't know. I want to say, I don't know. If I was a guess, maybe 2018 or something like that.
Okay, so within the last 10 years then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that one, it sucked me in. So I'm like, I got to go finish it off.
All right.
The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Pretty cool. Buster Scruggs.
Yeah. I didn't, Westerns, I don't really dig Westerns too much, but this one was like, I like so far.
You like Tombstone?
I did.
Tombstone's classic.
That one, yeah, that one's. I didn't know about. I knew about it, but didn't think I would like it. And then I watched it, and
Tombstone is the Western for people that don't like Westerns.
Absolutely.
Like, Tombstone will get you.
Absolutely.
Tombstone will get you. For me, I'll be real quick. I'm still up on my just kind of regular grind. The Last of Us. Wrapped up Velma, the season finale, which again, I still enjoyed the show as a whole. Be Cool, Scooby-Doo, still dipping on some episodes there. I don't know, I'm on a Scooby-Doo kick now. Like I got on Tubi and I found the original Where Are You, Scooby-Doo? Like the original 1968, 69 show. Because they got all the, like, it's only 2 seasons. Like, it's weird. Like, think about these old cartoons. A lot of them, like, only 2 seasons. Like, super short. Really? Yeah.
What?
G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, only 2 seasons.
But how many episodes per season?
Like 20 and like maybe 30.
Oh, that's enough.
Yeah.
I mean, because these days, that's like 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And then what else? Like, but yeah, it's fairly short. But anyway, so I'm watching like the first, and I watched the first episode because, like, you know, sometimes when you see the intro of it and you like wonder, okay, where those clips come from? But they come from other episodes. And so I watched like the very first episode of, you know, Scooby-Doo, and like, and it's interesting how they frame the characters. Like they mentioned Shaggy, you know, it's 68, and they need to climb up to get inside a place, and Daphne says, "Well, you know, Shaggy is the swingingest gymnast at the school." I'm like, wait, Shaggy's a gymnast? Like, this guy has, like, all I see this guy is a clumsy stoner. Like, right. Like, I've never seen him do anything athletic. But anyway, it's interesting to kind of hear where they frame certain characters. But yeah, I'm kind of been on the old school kick with some of those things. Still working through Emily in Paris as well, which is very enjoyable. Still working through Cheers, which is also very enjoyable. I'm on like season 3 of Cheers.
That seems, how many seasons is Cheers? It seems like, I don't know. It seems like it'll never end.
It's like maybe 9 or 10.
Ooh.
But the episodes, it's like 30-minute episodes. They go quick. I just like have it on the background, but it's like, I mean, it's entertaining. Like where I'm at now, season 3, Frasier gets introduced. Okay, and kind of just seeing kind of the origins, because these people I've heard of and seeing, they kind of have a place in pop culture, TV pop culture, but to kind of see where they stem from, because obviously Frasier gets his own show later on, which I'm positive is a spinoff. Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, Frasier that's one of those weird shows for me that's in my nostalgic brain. It spent off when my sister graduated high school and all this stuff, and it was like one of these movies or TV shows that just play in the background, and you don't intend to like it. Like, it's just playing, and then it's like, this is actually kind of funny. But
I've never watched the episode.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, it's a sleeper. It's just like, you don't expect to like it, but then you find yourself liking it.
And that's me with Cheers right now. I'm like, and then you get attached to the characters. You're like, oh, look at this stuff going on here. And now I'm like, okay, I know who Norman is, and all right, you know, Clint, and yeah, it's just and Sam, and anyway, so it's very interesting, like learning more about these characters. Like, I didn't realize that the lead character, Sam Malone, played by Ted Danson, is actually an ex-baseball player. He was a pitcher.
Doesn't he have like memorial on the bar, in the bar? Not really. Not
really. Not that's really been shown off. He used to be called Sam Mayday Malone. He was a relief pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, because they're in Boston. Your cousin from Boston. I love those commercials. but he became an alcoholic.
That's the bar.
And he actually but he actually kicked the habit and, you know, went sober but runs a bar. Like, fascinating. Anywho, but yeah, still grinding on those.
As a kid with that show playing, I was like, this is the most boring show in America. These guys are talking, you know.
Yeah. And it's mainly just at a bar.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's like when they're closed. It's like it's closed, like, and they have like their deep conversations when no one's around. Like, what is this?
What? Let's have 1 or 2 drinks. Alcoholic. These guys are alcoholics though, because they're there every night. I'm like, you guys are alcoholics. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Especially Norman. Like, that dude is like just pounded down beers like the whole time. They're functional alcoholics. They still go to their jobs. I'm like, you guys are. It's something else.
Unbelievable.
But everybody knows your name, so it's all good.
What? maybe 2 drinks now.
Make me a alcoholic. Man, come on, Eddie. Told you about this before. You said you gonna calm down.
You said you was gonna calm down.
So we left you alone.
Dresser.
Oh man. Sorry, 5 heartbeat tangents.
Yes. And what show was it? Did you ever watch The Masked Singer?
I've caught pieces of episodes, and every time I do, I'm like, this is interesting, but I never just consciously decide to watch it.
Have you seen any of them where you knew like who the Masked Singer was at the end?
No.
Holy smokes. I'm like, I don't sit and wait for the show to come on or anything like that. For whatever reason, I was on YouTube and they have like
compilation of reveals.
Yes.
Oh, I bet that's good.
Entertaining.
Okay.
Surprisingly entertaining. I had my kids. I don't know if I said this in one of the podcasts before, but I'm watching it with my kids and they're like into it. I guess because, you know, it's like a mascot scene. And so they're really enjoying it. I'm like, dude. And so we're trying to guess who the singer is along with the people. It's like, oh, that's so-and-so. Oh, that could be. Woo, woo. Yeah, it's worth checking out. Maybe not a whole season, but like just like a quick little snippet. I'll send you a URL. How about that?
Please do. Please do. I did remember seeing, like, catching part of one episode, and then the judges, they're trying to guess, they're throwing out names, and I'm like, oh, and then like it turned like being like, I want to say Lil Wayne,
possibly
was on. He like they were. I think they actually ended up revealing it was him. I was like, but actually like singing, like,
really,
yeah. But anyway, yeah, please send that, man. I would.
Yeah, there's maybe 1 or 2 in particular I want you to check out. But yeah, that was we watched this probably like a month or so ago on our laptop, just kind of you know spending some time with the family, and it's like this was actually entertaining. The judges asked why the people got involved, and they were just like, yeah, my kid, they did it for the kids, my kids, I wanted something for them to watch, and be able to hang out. So anyhow, yeah, the Masked Singer, that was a surprise. Because I remember when they were promoting it, I was like, what in the world?
Right. Oh, another singing show.
Another little old person, comment.
In my day, they didn't wear masks. You just sang.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah. So that was like my attitude towards it. But after like kind of catching like the recaps and seeing some of these songs and the performances, like, oh, well, this is straight up entertainment.
Also, I got to plug Abbott Elementary. I'm still when those episodes pop up, whenever I see it, I watch it on Hulu. So whenever there's a new episode, I always get excited. Like, yeah, Abbott Elementary. Bam. So it's still solid. I also watched a little bit of there used to be a show I used to watch called The Dark Side of Wrestling, but now it's like turned into a new version of the show called Tales from the Territories. Oh. And somebody I work with mentioned it to me. And so I found an episode on YouTube, and it was one dealing with Jerry the King Lawler and Andy Kaufman from way back in the 70s.
It's like a famous match.
Yeah, famous like feud. But this goes really like behind like this. Back then you had kayfabe where you had to keep things tight. But this goes into how Andy Kaufman actively like reached out and wanted to be involved with this stuff.
Wow.
And all the conversations and the dealings. So that aspect is super fascinating. And you got a little round table of Jerry Lawler, Jeff Jarrett, his father, Mr. Jarrett, I can't think of his first name, who actually just passed this week, ironically enough, but he's in it. Like 2 other people, but super interesting, very interesting episode. But they go all into it, and they even had this whole thing that happened on David Letterman. That and their feud,
yeah, he gets slapped. Is that the one that gets slapped?
That actually. They call that the famous show because they said that's the show. Because Letterman was like he was like in his first year.
Yeah,
they said that episode made them famous. That catapulted his show. So it's fascinating how that plays out. But yeah, it was very entertaining, and hear how much Andy Kaufman was totally into it, and because he started off, he was wrestling women.
That's right.
He called himself. He was the intergender champion, and he was literally in the ring calling out women from the crowd to come and wrestle him. He was wrestling them for real.
Oh my God.
And he was beating them. He was like literally beating these women. And I'm like, what kind of lawsuit? Like, what kind of, these people had to sign waivers? Like, that's liability out the butt. Anyway, but he's beating these women, and this one black woman gets in, and she gives him a run for his money, but then she gets blown up. She runs out of gas, and he beats her. But then, like, it goes over so well. Jerry Lawler, he's the promoter. He's like, hey, man, we got to bring you back again. But this time, I'll come out, and I'll be this woman's manager. And so they kept raising the stakes, and then eventually turns into, those Jerry and Andy Kaufman going at it, and then it builds from there. But yeah, Andy was in on it the whole time. He even faked an injury because he gets pile driven in the ring and sells it so damn well. They actually take him to the hospital. He fakes neck injury, stays in the hospital for 3 days. No. Straight selling it.
No.
Like, wow. But yeah, man, Tales from the Territories. I'm like, this is super interesting. Entertainment, y'all. Entertainment.
And today's show is sponsored by
Natural Hair, the movie by Grind Over Matter the Films, available to stream on Tubi and on the Roku channel on demand for free. Check it out and leave a review.
Now let's jump back into the show. Thank you for tuning in to Filmmaker Commentary. We're talking about Hard 8, written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, came out in February 1997. And let's jump into the synopsis. Veteran gambler Sidney befriends a young man named John by transforming him into a Las Vegas casino champion. John falls for a prostitute, and then the couple soon find himself in need of Sidney's help. Hard 8.
And very quickly, let me just mention the cast. But before I do, if this is your first time listening to Filmmaker Commentary, please know that there will be spoilers. You've been forewarned. So the cast of this film consists of one Philip Baker Hall in the lead role of Sidney.
Yep.
One John C. Reilly in the role of John.
And we know him from
Talladega Nights, Step Brothers.
Yes.
Other stuff. He's in Boogie Nights.
He sure is. And he has that face. He has this distinct face where every time you look at him, just like, I just want to laugh.
It's his hair too.
Yeah.
He's got the widow's peak, but it's also curly. So yeah, it's a very unique look. But he's funny too. I mean, he can go like dark and dramatic. He pulls some of that off here.
Yeah.
But mainly, you see him in a lot of comedies.
Yeah.
Especially he was working with Will Ferrell.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. Talladega Nights.
He has the perfect face for comedy.
I'm the magic man. Now you see me. Now you don't. All right. I'm sorry. All right. Also, the lovely Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yep.
And one Samuel L. Jackson. Mother.
Please.
That's the main cast. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Main players right there.
Absolutely. How did you watch this film? Did you know about this film? We talked about that, didn't we?
Come on, buddy.
Nobody knew about this movie.
It ain't no secret that people didn't know about this film. Yeah, I never heard of it before. I stumbled across it in my research.
Yes.
I saw the cast and said, hey, this is a good cast. Yeah. And Paul Thomas Anderson, solid director. So why not? But then I was really blown away when I saw how the unfortunate box office. But it's a solid film overall.
Yeah, same here. I didn't know anything about it, like I said earlier. Knew about it. I kind of like knew about it, but didn't care.
Very common theme with this. It's got that vibe.
It's like they didn't care about the key art. They didn't care. There's a lot of things they didn't care about. So if they don't care, I don't either.
Yeah, help me help you guys. Come on.
So I ended up going to the movie trading company, purchasing it on DVD. I prefer to get it on Blu-ray, but they didn't have it, so I just got the DVD, and that's how I get it. I just purchased it, and that's how I watched it this time.
Yeah, I wasn't quite ready to make the full investments. I just rented it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna rent this.
Yeah, because it's on $12.99. I'm like, ugh. Oh well.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just gonna rent this. I'll have it back by Tuesday. Thank you.
Just because I'm bad at returning stuff, so I just purchased them. I was like, I know me.
Safe bad.
Yeah. Like, I'm gonna end up paying more if I don't buy it.
I've got reminder in the phone. Return film on this day. Got it.
What did you like or not like about the film?
I like the performances, in particular, Mr. Hall. Mm-hmm. He is. I see why Paul Thomas Anderson enjoyed him so much, but Philip Baker Hall, like he has a presence on screen. He's so grounded and
stoic.
Yeah, he's stoic, and when he speaks, he's got this calmness, yet assertiveness.
Yeah,
that's very powerful. Also, Gwyneth Paltrow, I enjoyed her performance as well. She's at times you see her as vulnerable. She's got more of an edge in this film than I've seen her in, than I can remember seeing her with in other films.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of refreshing. Sam's always doing his thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And John C. Reilly, he's solid too, but mainly Gwyneth and Philip Hall really stood out to me.
I like seeing Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's like seeing an old friend that you have good memories about. So I was like, oh man, there he is. So that was cool to see that. I didn't like how they did the brothers in the film. Like, come on, there's only two. One is helping one of the characters in the bathroom, just smiling, waiting on his tip. And then, of course, Samuel L. Jackson. That's about it. We know how that ends.
Yes. Yeah.
In death.
Brother.
That's the only representation in the film.
And it's not great, but that's the hard 8.
That's true. Also, like there was a part where when Sydney is kind of showing him like around the casino how to make his money, how this all works, and then it just cuts to 2 years later. I would like to see him develop and see, okay, what's the next stages of how he becomes a person that can become well off with his money.
You want to see the montage? Yeah,
or just kind of seeing the development of his character. Because when 2 years passes by, okay, he doesn't need money anymore, but I feel like I don't see the development of his character.
Because he still seems like an idiot?
Yeah.
Well, see, I think once you see how patient Sydney is with John's character, and like step by step tells him what to do, and he does it, and he makes the money. I feel like, okay, once we fast forward and knowing that they're still connected, I'm like, okay, Sydney's been looking out for John this whole time.
Yeah.
So John's success is 100% because of Sydney. It's not because John is
right,
is skilled or intelligent at all. John's a big dummy. Yeah. Right. I hate to break it to you, John. Yeah, dummy.
It is what it is.
So, I kind of felt okay with that because I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend that much time with John. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because then we find out that, we find out the reason why Sydney is so persistent in looking out for this guy. Because the further you get in, you're like, oh man, especially you get towards the end, you're like, oh man, John, what's wrong with you, man?
You're dude.
Yeah. You fall in love with this girl, like just right off the bat like that. But that's also credit to John C. Reilly's acting ability. He could play like this, vulnerable.
He reminds me of, he plays the loser well.
There you go.
He reminds me of the guy in Zola, the boyfriend in Zola.
I'll do it. Do it.
I'll kill himself. So like her boyfriend, like she's prostituting herself, and he's like kind of has no choice but to be okay with it, and just kind of deal with the outcome after she goes through a bad situation. Same thing here, just like
simp. I think they call it a simp.
Yeah, 100%.
And the fact that as soon as she marries him, she takes a job. Like, oh, that's
yuck.
That's really like I don't know. Anyway, so but yeah, I enjoy those two lead performances. What do I not like about this film? It's a little slow.
Yeah.
I think at the very beginning, like if you don't know anything about this film, you're like, okay, these guys are having a conversation.
Yeah.
Where are we going with this? Like, and you have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But they all get answered by the end. So I always appreciate that. Like, I don't have any more questions.
Right. It is slow. It's
it was a slow burn.
After I watched a lot of films during the 90s around this time. It was that era where okay, we're gonna hang out with these people and see what happens.
Like, I don't know where this is going. Like, even like when Sam gets introduced, like it's kind of awkward when he's there because he's kind of being crass or whatever. And you could tell it kind of bothers Sydney, and John is awkward because he's friends with a cool black guy.
Yeah,
but he doesn't want to disappoint his father figure.
Right.
Like,
unapproving.
Yeah, but there's some interesting dialogue. But yeah, it's a slow beat, but I think there's some smart dialogue within the film as well. Even like the conversation that Sydney has with Gwyneth Paltrow's character when he asks her about, does she have to flirt to be able to get the tip or whatever. It's that exchange. I like good conversation like that. And I think Boogie Nights has some of that too.
Yeah,
but yeah, I like the dialogue.
Yeah,
which is a very, I think, 90s thing also.
Yeah, it was like. Yeah, he has all these like weird standards, and it's like, what do you care, pal? That's what I thought. But the commentary, what did you think about the commentary that? Because there was 2 commentaries. I only listened to one of the commentaries.
Same here. I listened to the first one.
That's what the director and with the actor.
Mm-hmm. Which I thought was pretty solid. And at times it seemed like they're in the same room.
Yeah.
At other times it seemed like they're in separate rooms.
Yeah, it's weird because you could hear when the actor's talking, you could hear stuff going on in the background. And I was like, what? Are they sharing a mic? What the hell?
Yeah. And I enjoyed it for the most. I thought it was very informative. It's solid. There's some good insights about acting and about the development of the film. It's a solid commentary.
Yeah.
At the end, it got very on the last, I don't know, 30 minutes. It's just the actor. I'm like, where did the director go?
Like he bounced.
Where's the director at? He left. And so yeah, that was kind of weird because I would like to have heard more from him towards the end.
Yeah.
In terms of what was playing out and why it played out that way. But the first 3/4 of it, solid commentary. What about you?
Yeah, it was solid. And he's in a good mood considering that this film didn't perform at all.
Maybe it hasn't been released yet.
Well, he recorded this after Boogie Nights because he's talking about Boogie Nights, stuff like that. So he recorded the commentary after Boogie Nights is out in the world. So he's now a superstar director.
Yeah, he got past this L real quick.
Yeah.
They're like, man, that's a heck of a rebound. He may have shot them like fairly close.
Yeah.
And so it was like they were releasing, are going to release anyways. It was like, oh, it's too late to stop Boogie Nights. It's coming out anyway. And then it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, saving grace right there.
Absolutely.
Now I got to look up the Boogie Nights box office because I want to see how much Boogie Nights covered the Hard 8.
Yeah, well, we covered Boogie Nights, and I can't remember the episode that we covered Boogie Nights in, but it was that was a fun one to cover.
Estimated budget $150 million. Oh, worldwide gross only $43 million.
Wait.
Estimated budget $150 million.
Impossible. Seriously?
Worldwide gross $43 million.
I don't believe that. We need to go back to our really. I don't know.
Híjole, that's
really.
Yeah, man, that's okay. Boogie Nights. Yeah, we covered this on what episode number is this? That wasn't okay.
150 million.
Only made for like 43 million.
There were a lot of people in that film. A lot of famous people in that Boogie Nights.
Are on their way to fame, like Don Cheadle,
Mark Wahlberg,
Heather Graham.
Yeah, I was about to call her Roller Skate Girl. What do they call Roller Girl?
Roller Girl.
There was a lot of people in there.
Yes, there were.
But I don't see 150 million. Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude.
Julianne. Redhead.
Was playing the mother.
Yeah, she's in so much stuff. Yeah. She's always working.
Yeah. Yeah. That budget seems like it should have been 50 million. 30 million. 30 million sounds about right.
Yeah, 150. I'm like, ooh,
that doesn't sound right.
Really high.
That was an accident.
I'm gonna check it through the numbers. Man, that's a lot of money lost there by
And for someone to keep losing money and to keep getting work, it's very interesting.
It is very interesting. What is your secret?
Easy blackmail.
Let's see.
Well, as you look that up, special features. Did you watch any of the special features? I think
no, and it's very light on special features.
I know it was like a Sundance Institute featurette, but I didn't watch that one. Yeah,
This one had, again, we mentioned the 2 commentary tracks. There is, the Sundance Institute Filmmaker Lab scenes, and there's a deleted scene called The Kiss, which I did see, but I don't remember what happened with that. It wasn't anything like really worthwhile. Yikes. Sometimes you get a deleted scene like, oh, that could have been helpful, but other times, yeah, you're like, oh, this doesn't really add anything to the film.
Like, good.
Yeah, man, still like 43.
Really?
Worldwide, 43.
It's still saying 150 million as the budget.
I'll confirm for you shortly, but
yeah, crazy. I'm Tone.
Oh, see, that's a very different. Okay, so so here it's saying production budget 15 million.
Okay, so there was a typo then.
Yeah,
because 150 doesn't. I'm like, where did it go?
Oh, you know what? You're right. I read that wrong. That's my fault. Okay. My fault, ladies and gentlemen. Reading on the fly here. Yes, $15 million budget. Worldwide gross 43 million.
Okay, I recant my statement then because I'm like,
my bad.
How are you, like we're saying, how are you getting work and how did you become this success if Boogie Nights doesn't make money? It has to make money.
Still not a whole lot, but enough. Like enough of a win.
Yeah, it's the opposite of what happened in the Hard Eight.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's
okay. Sounds about right.
Whew. Like I'm relieved for him. Like, oh, like what is going on?
I was like, how are you still working, bro? Like you can't have $150 million and you only make 43.
Yeah, and you lost another $3 million. That seems like peanuts. But hey, man, I only lost $3 million there.
Even the movie, what's the new the Black Adam movie? That one was what was the budget? Like 100. That was closer to 150, wasn't it?
Black Adam's gonna be up there. Black Adam.
And the big controversy with that film is that it didn't do well at the box office, or it didn't perform like they thought it would.
No, it unfortunately did not. All right, Black Adam came in at 195 million.
Holy, that's the production budget?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Only made 393 mil.
Yeah, see? And so like a film like that, for them to say only 393, you know what I mean? And that still be considered an L is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you spent 195 mil, you're expecting a Billy.
Yeah.
Easily. You're expecting $1 billion.
Maybe, but like just in any other business, if you spend that amount of money but you still doubled it, that's all right, we doubled it.
Yeah, movies have fanciful demands. But also, and you got The Rock starring in it.
Yeah. And they also lie about their budget, so maybe it's 80 million and not 193.
Yeah, maybe, but
yeah, so anyhow, but at the end of the day they didn't lose money and it's still considered a L. And
I think if it had waited and come out maybe like this summer, I think it may have done better because it was still coming out of the pandemic.
I don't know because I mean Maverick was kicking butt, bro.
Oh man, Maverick took off.
Yeah,
Maverick. Yeah, you're right. Top Gun Maverick. But that's an anomaly. A sequel 20 years later. That film is an incredible film. Absolutely incredible. It's actually now streaming on Paramount Plus. That was a damn good movie. I cannot front.
I mean, a good movie is a good movie. And
no, it's a great movie. I'm sorry. I got it. Yeah. Top Gun Maverick is a great. I didn't think. I heard all the buzz. I was like, oh, this can't be that. I was like, oh, this is that.
Yeah. You have to go to the theater to watch it.
I just watched it at home. And I was like, this. I would if it were re-released in theaters. I would go and check it out in the theater for the visual sights and sounds.
It was great. Watched it with my daughter. She wanted to watch the airplane movie.
That's really awesome.
So
really awesome.
Yeah, but like it felt like an experience. Yeah, like you don't usually these days don't really get that.
What about this Hard Eight experience?
Oh yeah, let's go back to.
We started talking about. You know, it was a really good movie. Boogie Nights was good too. Oh yeah, the Hard Eight.
Oh yeah, back to.
How can we forget about the Hard Eight?
What did you think about the tone of the film?
I'm just sitting over here quietly,
sorry,
hoping someone will pay attention. Just like his main character. It's kind of quiet and reserved, hoping so.
Right, dog. Well, I'm trying to remember what movie was that. You shut your face. Was it Last Dragon?
Oh. Shut your mouth. Fix your face.
Fix your face. That's how we treat the heartache.
Oh, man. Oh, Eddie. Yeah. What was your question?
Yeah, the tone of the film. I felt like it was like somber. It felt like gloomy,
melancholy, like the last man in San Francisco.
Yeah, but different though. Like
almost like it had a noir kind of vibe to it a little bit.
Yeah, because Last Black Man in San Francisco, it still was warm, like just because of the color grade and everything like that. So it felt like it was hopeful, even though it was kind of like low on tone. Melancholy, yeah. But it's visually it was warm. This one is not visually warm. This is more cold.
Even though we're in Vegas, we're in Reno, but yeah it's all kind of muted. Yeah. It feels like a constant overcast. There's like no sunshine.
Yeah, absolutely. Film. Yeah, so that's visually I felt that. Felt cold.
Visual overcast.
Yeah. The music was done by John Bryan and Michael Penn. The music was weird too sometimes. You see, it was like the xylophone. Like there was a part of like this little xylophone and like string section playing.
Oh yeah, that's kind of got a Vegas vibe to it. A Reno vibe.
Yeah. So
get back to the right movie. I'm still looking at Boogie Night notes. Let me come back into the hot night. I was like, these notes are different.
But it was memorable. Like the music, it's memorable. But it was like, I don't know.
I almost call it like a dark comedy with a little bit of suspense, kind of in the mix.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't really, really funny, but there's some moments. Yeah. There's some moments that are like, oh, this is weird, but it's kind of funny. Maybe a little bit of irony, kind of. And maybe that's part that's kind of John C. Reilly, kind of his awkwardness.
Yeah. The only part that I kind of remember as kind of being funny is when Gwyneth Paltrow was saying, they were sitting there in the coffee and they're talking over food, and she says, "Oh, what did she say? He's like, you can forgive him or you can do this, something." And then somebody in the background, this is a guy that's with these two girls. He's like, "Man, F this." And then he walks out, and then we cut back to Gwyneth Paltrow, and she's like, okay. It was just like a visual cue. Like the guy in the background basically answered the question for her. And they had nothing to do with each other.
Well, even in the opening, when after Sydney convinces John to come along with him, or he's trying to convince him to come along with him, and John's like, I don't do this or do that, because he thinks this guy's trying to do something freaky to him or whatever. But then they finally get in the car and they're driving along, and then John starts he asked for a light.
Yeah,
he's like, I don't do matches. Yeah, I don't do matches. And he goes this random story. He was just standing in line with a pocket full of matches. He's just standing there, and also what the.
His pocket catches on fire.
Just randomly.
It was like a cutaway. It felt like a Family Guy cutaway.
Yeah. It was kind of weird, but I was like, that's weird, but it's kind of funny. The guy standing in line all of a sudden, he just flaming pockets. That's like something that would happen to John C. Reilly. So it's like, yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so just a little interesting, kind of quirky bits of humor worked in.
From a style standpoint, I saw that the director kind of talked about suspense a little bit. In one of the scenes when John calls Sydney to come to the hotel, but doesn't really give him like information on what's going on there. He's reluctant to open the door. He's like, and Sydney's like, "Dude, let me in. Like, what's the problem? Like, you called me over here and you don't want to open the door. What's wrong with you?" And then when he steps in, we don't see what's going on in the room. The camera is just stuck on Sydney and John.
When that first scene was unfolding, did you think something bad was going to happen to Sydney?
I thought two things. Either Jimmy was about to do something to Sydney because of something we don't know, or this dude done killed Gwyneth.
Yeah,
that's what I thought happened.
Yeah,
one of those two things.
I thought the same here. I was like, okay, either he's killed Gwyneth's character, or him and Samuel Jackson's character are gonna do something like they're gonna jump Sydney and kill him and take his money. Yeah, like that. I was like, I had bad. But I was like, oh man, no, what's going on?
Yeah,
but one thing I really didn't like is when a character asks someone to commit to helping them or make a promise before they say what they need help with. I'm like,
oh yeah.
To me, that's the most conniving thing you could do.
You promised me.
Yeah. Like, oh, that's trash. That's you're trying to entrap them. That's something like that's like, especially if they're like a friend, like or a family. Like that's I don't know. That's like the ultimate. Feels like a betrayal of trust.
Rhymes the other conversation in Pulp Fiction with Uma Thurman and John Travolta, and then I think he says something. He says, "You promise you won't get mad or laugh." He's like, and then she kind of talks about why she can't promise that.
Exactly.
So I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
no fault of my own. I could, So I remember that conversation.
That's twice we've referenced Pulp Fiction in our chatting day. It makes me every time we mention Pulp Fiction in any way, I'm like, man, I'm gonna watch that again.
Yeah.
Same thing with Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Like every time that it's even mentioned, I'm like, man, I should watch that. Like it's just, I love those films.
Yeah. Also from Paul Thomas Anderson talks about some of the shots being influenced by a film called The Hustler. Have you ever seen The Hustler?
I have not.
It's one of the scenes. I haven't seen it either, but it's the scene where Sydney. What's Gwyneth Paltrow? Clementine. So it's when Sydney is talking to Clementine. She's sitting on a bed, and he's standing up, and his head is cut off. So we only kind of see him from the shoulders down, and we see Gwyneth Paltrow. And it's kind of like the visually so dominance. Right. And so he said he stole that from The Hustler. So in my brain, like, why is this like this? Got his head cut off and things like that. But he talks that visually he wanted to show dominance there. Shot anamorphically, of course. Did you see anything from a style standpoint that kind of stood out?
Kind of was alluded to earlier. Like the colors seem kind of muted.
Yeah,
and I mean, the only time you kind of see any kind of daylight, sunshine, really is at the very beginning of the film when you see John's character sitting outside of the diner before Sydney comes up to him and starts having a conversation. But
and still just overcast. Feels overcast that day.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just the overall visual aesthetics. There's a lot of scenes of Sydney walking because the director loves the way that this actor walks. So you see multiple shots of him walking, and it's from different angles. He's walking across the casino, or he's walking down a driveway, but he loves to capture him walking.
Okay, I can dig it. There's also from a styling standpoint, there's a shot where Clementine, she's on the bed, same scene, and they're like dimming the lights in the background. I don't think I caught that the first time until the director talks about how they dim the lights, and he like stole that from another filmmaker.
I remember him mentioning that in the commentary too.
Like, oh wow, that's like a nice little trick. And but anyhow, that's the only thing that I saw from a style standpoint. What are some themes that you brought away from this film?
Themes include retribution, taking in strays, choosing family, making mistakes, underestimating the old, and having to lie again.
Yes, indeed. One of the themes, everyone needs a friend, I guess. Everybody can't be helped at the same time. Losers are losers. I think I heard Donald Trump say that a long time ago. It's just like some people are just losers. There's nothing you can do about it.
Sounds like a very Trump thing to say.
But it's true. It's just like, hey man, some people they're made for the L.
That old McGruff, the crime dog, had that song, users are losers and losers are users, so don't use drugs. Don't use drugs. That
was a hit.
Oh man, McGruff, take a bite out of crime.
And then another one is just repentance. It kind of seems like Sydney, that's what he's doing, by helping this guy, John, out. He's kind of paying his dues for what he's done in the back.
Like retribution.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any favorite scenes?
Or memorable scenes?
Yes.
I have just two. One is when Sydney is talking with Clementine in the both at the casino just that initial conversation. It's one of those interesting kind of back and forth because it gives you some insight to Clementine being kind of aware. And you think she's one kind of person, but then all of a sudden you see her later coming out of the hotel room. You're like, oh,
yeah,
I didn't see that coming.
Did some prostitution on the side. Jimmy, played by Samuel Jackson, kind of hinted that. He's like, man, these women are cool with that.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many, women, kind of telling him like they do this stuff on the side.
Right. But you're thinking, not Gwyneth Paltrow's character, not Clementine. She seems different. But she seems like there's something about Sydney where she's kind of wants to put these wares on, and then you see her come out of the space and the place, and she has this, I bet you think I'm a piece of shit, yada, yada. And then this fatherly vibe about Sydney where he feels something for her, and he's just talking with her, and I don't know. Like I like Sydney.
Yeah.
I like Clementine too. It's like, okay, there's something about these characters. They're both kind of, I don't know, they're sad.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, you feel something for them.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a power within that. But I enjoy the conversations that they're having and what, I don't know, Clementine trying to figure out what her life is supposed to be. And Sydney, he's not judgmental about it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I was like, Sydney putting on his cape. Ooh, what girl needs help now?
Dun, 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 dun.
Captain Dave. I like the scene where Sydney. So Clementine has stayed in the hotel overnight that Sydney has got her to wash up. He's discovered that she does this prostitution stuff on the side. She's sleeping with her clients. She doesn't want the hotel to find out because she'll be fired if that happens. So they kind of, Sydney and her, they kind of have this understanding. Mm-hmm. So he lets her stay at this hotel. She thinks that he wants to have sex with her and stuff like that. And he's like, he kind of like, nah,
Why would you think that?
I'm cool. I like.
But he's so classy in the way he handles it.
Right.
Like he's so, I don't know. I'm like, man, this is a good guy. Or he's doing his best to be a good guy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I was like, he's like, no, I'm cool. I saw you just come out of you haven't taken a shower or anything. Like there could be another.
This ain't Adzola, okay?
You ain't taking no shower, nothing. No, lady. So
it's worth thousands.
It's worth thousands. Oh yeah, that's hilarious. Yes, absolutely. That's absolutely that scene.
Oh man.
Reference back to Adzola, everybody.
Adzola.
So the day after, the morning of, John comes. He's like so happy to see Clementine in the bed. Mm-hmm. He catches up with her, but before he continues the day with her, he goes and talks to Sydney. Sydney's getting, his tie, getting ready for the day.
Clean. Yeah.
Got to stay clean out here.
Yes, sir.
And there's a guy code there. So John's kind of asking, like, hey, man, you didn't.
No.
So it's interesting.
And what if I did?
And if I did? A man has needs.
There are other virtues.
Might as well be me.
How does it feel to be me?
Oh man! So he kind of sets up his boy John because he didn't give him no info or anything. So he's like loyal to Clementine. He really should be more loyal to John, so John doesn't make this mistake. You're like, don't marry the prostitute.
She's off my hands.
I was like, what? So, but it's funny how even. And how simple John is, and how together and regal that Sydney is. There's still that guy code there. Like there doesn't need to be a lot of communication. It's just like, hey, you didn't. He's like, no. They didn't really have to talk much about it.
That was my time,
right? He didn't have to go into details. If this was like, it's funny because like guys kind of talk like that, where it's like there's not a lot that needs to say. We only care about like one thing. It's like we didn't. Oh, okay, cool, we're good. Like, but when it comes to like women and that same conversation, it's like, oh, girl, this dude's a prostitute. He da 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 da.
It's too many feelings.
Yes. It could be a different scene if the girl asks about a guy. It's just funny how simple guys are when it comes to certain things.
Yeah, it was very.
He was like, that's all he needed to know. He's like, everybody else can sleep with her.
And now he's ready for marriage.
Yeah. The whole town can sleep with her, but as long as you didn't, I'm good.
Even they probably would have been like, well, how many times?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I just thought that was interesting, the little guy code thing.
And my other scene I had was the hotel scene. Just the way that, because all three of them having to act together like that really had a heightened sense of emotion between the three of them.
The hotel scene, you got to build that up a little bit.
Right. So you alluded to it earlier when Sidney gets called and he goes to the motel room.
Right.
Where John and Clementine are at. And John is super hesitant to let him in and makes him promise that he'll help him no matter what. And finally he lets Sidney in. And you see Clementine sitting in a chair. She's crying.
Yeah.
And you see a guy handcuffed to a bed. Another total stranger we have not met yet.
Bloodied.
Yes. Wounded, bludgeoned head. And he's unconscious. He's not moving or talking. Pardon me. And Sidney goes in asking questions. What happened here? What's going on? And you find out that these two have gotten married.
Yeah.
Same day. They've gotten married.
Unbelievable.
And same day, Clementine goes and consummates with another man, with a customer, and who apparently refuses to pay her. And so then she called John and things got violent. And then they, geniuses that they are, get the guy to call his wife to get the money, the $300.
Yes, got to get paid.
Like, what? And so now Sidney is like, this is, in his mind, you can say this is ridiculous. But he goes into like fixer mode. He's asking questions, this and that, and each person they've all been very mellow. Everybody's been very calm throughout the whole film.
Right.
Very calm, very, very mellow. But now we see everybody get pushed and show a little flare of emotion.
Yeah.
Even Sidney.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Like, oh, there's some excitement going on. All right.
Finally.
Yeah.
A movie.
Emotion. So we get a little like bursts of emotion out of each of them, and then we see each of them get angry with each other.
True.
Because Sidney and John, they've been cool and super cordial and like father-son like relationship and father-daughter like relationship with him and Clementine, and then apparently husband newlywed vibes with John and Clementine. John ends up like getting mad at Clementine and strikes her in the face.
Man, right hand to the face.
Clementine, it gets mad at Sidney and says she's gonna get her. We'll see who's stupid when I get my money. It's like, oh, right, like everybody. And then John gets mad at Sidney and tells him not to talk to Clementine a certain way, and even like grabs his shoulder and. They get in each other's face, but everybody gets a little heated. Yeah, even it's funny with Clementine when she was just like, it's all right. Sidney doesn't have to help us. He's like, damn right, I don't have to help you. Well, get the fuck out. She's like, she just turns it up. Yeah. So we see these different sides, like this, all this niceness. It's gone. Yeah, in the midst of this danger, we see some of their like true side coming out. But it's interesting to see how, in general, how calm Sidney is in light of everything. Like he's concerned and asking questions, but he's trying to figure out how to fix things. Like, why is he so calm? Like, how does he? Because it's such a dumb crime. You could tell he's seen worse. So he's there. He's like, y'all are tripping about this. Like, kind of like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, it's really. I mean, even as a viewer, you're like, whether you do crime or not, you're like, oh, this is stupid. You guys are stupid. Yeah, it's sad. It's. The blind leading the blind. It's sad to hear about a dumb crime. And unfortunately, in the past, this had to been like 5 years ago, I was talking to this person and they're describing to me a dumb crime. A crime. But I'm like, this person's dumb. Are you aware that you're dumb before you commit this crime? Just a little disclaimer out there. Because I know all of us humans, we've probably thought about, like, oh man, if I could get away with murder, or if everybody's had a thought. That person would get it, or what could you get it? We all thought about getting away with something. Yeah, and if you get away with it, my brain is like, I play it out, like writing the script kind of thing. Sure. Like, okay, if I do this, then my brain's like, not gonna do it. It's like. That's probably most of us. Like we actually think it through, and we see potential faults where it could go wrong.
Yeah,
and that's more likely it would and could go wrong because if you miss one thing and yada yada yada, and the other side, the logical side says, it's not worth it. You know, if I gotta go here, get put in jail, blah 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 blah. Other people don't think it out; they just act.
Yeah, just execute it.
And they gotta call Sydney to help them.
It's the worst thing to hear a dumb crime. It's sad because some people just don't have the mental capacity, and it's just like, oh, I see why these crimes get done this way. You know, people weren't paying attention.
No.
So anyhow, I just thought that whole scene was very interesting. But in that scene, when Sydney comes over, I see the ring finger on John when he's talking to, and I was like, why does he have a ring finger on? It's like, man, this must be a goof. Like they might have just kind of forgot to cover the scene because it's just John and Sydney talking. We just see them in the scene, and I see the ring finger on John. I'm like, he's been married this whole time? Like this never came up in the script. And then like 5 minutes later, we find out that he just married Clementine. It's like, that was kind of cool though to see that reveal because I was asking that question. I was like, I didn't know he was married. Or maybe
good eye.
Yeah. So anyhow, that was some of my favorite scenes or memorable scenes. Any more for you?
I'll say at the end, once Jimmy comes and basically blackmails Sydney, he says, I know about what happened in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Like, and Sydney's his mess begins to come out, and and just the discovery that, because we hear at the beginning that Jimmy needs money to pay for a funeral, for his mother's funeral, if I'm not mistaken. But we find out that Sydney was an old school kind of gangster, and involved in some dirt back in Atlantic City, and actually an incident took place where he actually shot and killed John's dad. Yeah. And so this whole time, Sydney has been trying to make amends, and that's why he's been taking care of John. That's why he helped him when he had no money and broke, sitting in front of a diner. That's why he showed him how to make money in Vegas and in Reno. That's why he's helping John out of this dire situation, because he's trying to make amends. And Jimmy has found out and says he wants $10,000. And Sydney says he doesn't have $10,000 on him, that he could go to the bank and blah, blah, blah. And he's not having it. And Jimmy eventually ends up getting $6,000 off of Sydney. Yep. And then Sydney's like, all right. I got you, boo boo. Yeah. I got you.
He's like, all right.
And Sydney, cool, calm, and collected as you think he would be, he trails Jimmy home. And Jimmy, of course, got his money. He steps out. Jimmy's at the tables. Yeah. Holiday, ha, laughing it up. Yes. Spending money.
Gambling.
Sydney goes into Jimmy's home, breaks in, opens the door, goes into Sydney's room, goes through the guns, grabs one of Sydney's guns, and just, angles a chair facing the front door and just has a seat and waits.
Unbelievable.
And Jimmy gets home, comes in with a lady of the night.
A lady of the night.
Lights are on, and Jimmy's ready to get down with this lady. He has her on the couch. And all of a sudden, I don't remember if Sydney says anything to him or not, but once Sydney gets Jimmy's attention, fire shots. Bah, bah, bah. It looks like based on the angle of the gun, it looks like he shoots Jimmy in the chest, heart, the shoulder. He hits him in the torso area. Yeah. It looks like he hits him in the groin with the other shot. So he aims down, like, what other reason you have to aim down? It's like you trying to like take this dude's manhood away. But it's
ouchie.
Game time. And Sydney goes over and he may shoot him. He may shoot him. He might shoot him one more time, but he gets a wad of cash, gets his money back, and he's out, tells the girl to leave, and Sydney goes about his business.
Unbelievable. It's like, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that was memorable.
It was. Tropes.
So I have the nice guy carries a secret.
Yeah. That's the whole reason why he's nice. In the 90s, eating at a diner. Again.
Man.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, man. You said nothing but a word. Pulp Fiction for sure.
Opens up at the diner. I wouldn't be surprised if it was shot at the same diner.
I was going to say opening and closing a film in the same location, which almost ties to that diner theme because we open and close in the diner.
Boom. Absolutely. The Prostitute with a Heart of Gold.
I almost put that until I heard Clementine's filthy mouth in the hotel room. I was like, no. Yeah.
You took it back?
I don't know. Yeah, let me get that back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, you just married the guy and then you went and like, no, you're supposed to turn from your way, but you just get married and you go right back to business. I'm like, no, you're not a heart.
Yeah, you're right.
You're not a heart of gold. You've got a bronze.
We could say
you got a copper. You got a copper heart.
We could say the likable prostitute. How about that?
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll buy that for $1.
That's all I have for tropes.
That's all I have to.
Boom. Quotables. You got any quotes?
I do have a few quotes. First one is from our main man, Sidney. It's at the very beginning of the film when he's reaching out to John to help him out, and he says, "Never ignore a man's courtesy."
Yeah,
that's solid.
Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's playing this. I don't want to say degenerate gambler, but the gambler at the crap table, and he's like making fun of Sidney because he's old. Hey, yo, big timer, this one's for you. And then when he discovers that he busts Sidney for the money, he's like, I'm sorry, I'll buy you a drink, big time. But he has this laugh that is just like so snarky.
Oh, absolutely.
It's great. I like the laugh. And
I like that on his face. You can just slightly see he's like feeling a little bit of regret, but kind of doesn't want to come out of the good times. He's like, he's kind of like struggling with it. It's really well played. This is from Sidney. This is in the hotel room when he is actually both these come from the hotel room. Yeah. And he's talking to Clementine. And he's like, when you're in a situation like this, he goes, you humble yourself. You humble yourself. I don't know the way he just said it. I'm like, who says that? Yeah. Humble yourself. You humble yourself. And he gets angry. Like he raises his voice.
Ain't that the truth? You gotta be humble.
And then go ahead.
In that same situation, Sidney's asking questions when he's there. He's talking to John, and he sees a guy on the couch, not the couch, on the bed, and he's like, "John, what is this?" And then John's like, "Oh, he's a hostage."
Yep, he's a hostage. As a matter of fact. Yeah. Whoa. So there's also Sidney talking to Clementine, and again, they found out that this is all over $300, and he turns to Clementine and says, the first thing they should have taught you in hooker school, you get the money up front.
Ain't that the truth?
Man, like Sidney he's pissed to be in this situation.
Yeah, and that's true what he's saying, because we saw Ed Zola, right? They got the money up front and then they went to business.
Yeah. But I think I don't know how long Clementine's been, in the business. Yeah. But maybe not that long. Maybe this is still new for her. Yeah. I don't know. It's
funny when Sidney's still asking all these questions, like, what's going on? He discovers that the guy that they have hostage, they have called his wife. He said, y'all talked to his wife? Y'all didn't tell his wife where you are, did you? And then Clementine's like, no, we aren't stupid. And then Sidney's like, yeah. He's like, no, of course you're not. The way you delivered it was great.
Oh man, that's all I had for quotes.
When it's sad when John, when he's explaining to Sidney like why he married Clementine, he's like, yeah, I saw her on the bed this morning and I thought it was a gift from heaven. A sign from heaven. I thought it was a sign from heaven. Like,
No, John is not he's not the one. John's not the one.
Also, one of my last quotes is Jimmy when he's threatening Sidney. He breaks the window and he has the gun. He's telling him to stop. He said, "I'll shoot you in your foot and let it bleed." That was not in the script.
That's a very serious, potentially very painful threat. Like, oh wait, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Do not shoot me in the foot and let it bleed. That's what do you want? What do you want?
That is not in the script. I guarantee Samuel made that one up. That was great.
It was professional right there. I'll shoot you in the foot and let it bleed. Oh man.
Woo. That was wonderful. Do you have any questions for our directors?
I actually don't. I don't have any questions. I'm like I found out what I need to know. I'm like, okay. Maybe my only other question would be where does Sydney go? Because it seems like at the end, like he's gonna have to go somewhere else now. Now the other two are Niagara Falls. Yeah. I think he feels he has gotten gotten John to a good place. He's married to a former hooker.
Yeah.
He's got a little change in his pocket.
Yeah.
They're in Niagara Falls. I think he's made amends.
Yeah.
So, but I wonder where he's gonna go next. That would be it.
Trivia. Do you have any trivia?
I have a little bit of trivia here. Sydney was actually the original name and title of the film. And actually, the director said that, Paul Thomas Anderson said that most of the cast and crew, they actually refer to the film as Sydney.
Wow. I had the same trivia, and that's all the trivia I have.
Ha! All right. I didn't mean to take yours.
No worries.
I've got two more. Samuel Jackson only had a few days to rehearse, but absolutely nailed his lines.
Yeah, professional.
And they sat with this script for about 2 years before the film was financed.
Oh, wow.
All for naught. Let's hear, though. It got made.
There you go.
That's all I had for trivia.
Okay. Now it's time for Filmmaker Tips. What you got?
You can have two people in a coffee shop talking in the movie, and here we go. If you can have two people in the coffee shop talking, the movie will write itself.
Man, I just recently, go ahead.
I thought of another movie that has like a kind of opening in a coffee shop or bar talking, and I thought of The Social Network.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, this came to mind.
Yeah, Aaron Sorkin on that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's what Paul Thomas Anderson talking about writing, because it was his first script and hashing that out. I just recently finished 2 episodes that I got hired to write for a client, and it's kind of true in a way. I didn't understand what people were saying. Like, for example, Quentin, he'll say, "I'll just get 2 people, I'll just get them to talk, and the characters will tell me what they want to do." I didn't understand what he meant, but I have this internal dialogue when I'm writing stories, or like I'll have internal dialogue all the time, and depending on what character that I'm focusing on, the internal dialogue that I have that I'm typing out, it's always different. And so I get what he was saying. When you put these 2 people in a situation, what is this person going to say? What is this person? So it was fun to write these last 2 scripts, just getting 2 people to put them in a situation and just to get them to talk.
Do you find that each character's motivations also come out and come through?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Nice.
And it dictates everything. Like for example, a cigarette. Why are they pulling out the cigarette? How do they smoke the cigarette?
What kind of cigarette?
Oh, is it menthol? No, I don't have any of those.
Oh,
you
ain't got no menthol.
Yeah, so we know that's a black character with the menthol.
Yeah. I was like, wow, okay. And he's gonna die too? Let me guess.
And one of the scenes that I had that I was writing out was dealing with a cigarette, visiting somebody in jail. Like, dang, you can't smoke in here? She said something totally different. But it's just like, this is fun.
There you go. Real talk. You got any tips?
The director talks about like directing is one thing, but like as a filmmaker, another thing is you have to learn how to handle egos. And so that's like a big part of the job, especially in studio films. And apparently there was a producer that was no longer like working on the film, but still had some say so. And he was trying to get Paul Thomas Anderson was trying to get the credits like cut down at the very beginning. Right. But in order to do that, you have to get the sign off for the people whose titles would be there in the front,
right?
From the producers and some other people. Well, that producer is no longer on the film still had the right off, if to not have those titles there, and he wouldn't sign off on that. And so this is just one thing. I think in Menace Society, I don't remember if you remember, they had to get Jada Pinkett to sign off so they can get the titles taken off because they had a whole montage going on Menace Society. And Jada Pinkett kind of gave them a hard time about that. But anyhow, but it's a standard in the contract, standard in studio contract. So if you don't have it, there has to be a reason, and they have to sign off to release that.
If you are hiring talent, trust them to bring the words to the script as needed. So Sam Jackson, once again, as we mentioned, he didn't have a lot of time to rehearse with the group, but came in. And of course, Sam is always prepared, but he also knows his characters and he can ad-lib as needed. So that line about shooting the foot and let it bleed, whether that was in the script or not, Paul Thomas Anderson gives his actors enough leeway to know when they need to add things in. And same thing with Sydney. They were able to make the character truly theirs and add in as needed, and he trusted them to do so.
And to add to that, that's why the actors like to work with Paul so much, is because of that trust. And the actor that played Sydney, is it Philip Baker?
It is Philip Baker Hall.
Philip Baker Hall. He talked about that specifically as why the actors like working with him, because of that freedom.
Also, there was a moment where he mentioned that when he was working with Gwyneth Paltrow, how he I think it was a scene in the diner where she's talking with Sydney. Like he caught all of her tricks that she kind of uses to kind of hide behind, and he kind of called her out on those things,
right?
And so it forced her to have to push through in a different kind of way. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was specifically it was her fidgeting with the cup. Because you can all right, just hold something. I forgot what they call it for the acting, but it's kind of like a crutch, You can all right, I'm going to just go to this holding this cup. And that to give yourself something to do besides focus on the person that's talking. And it was funny that she was like, damn it, you caught me.
Exactly, yeah. She was like, But it was, she knew it, though. And they moved forward from that. So I had a note here about, the rules of suspense. Where you as long as you can not show something, or as long as you cannot show them, don't show them. And that kind of plays into the hotel room scene.
Yeah.
Cindy knocks on the door, hears John's voice, let me in, knocks again. John finally cracks open the door.
Yeah.
Talks to him through the door, and then finally lets him in, and then finally you get the reveal. But they build that suspense. Because again, like I said, I was, man, is Sydney going to get jumped? Or are we going to see Clementine dead?
Yeah.
You knew something bad was going to unfold.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was good suspense.
And then, because when it comes to the threshold of the door, the camera just stays on them two. We don't see what's going on in the room. We don't even know Clementine's in there.
Exactly.
And there's a guy bleeding on the bed. And so, in my brain, man, what's going on? What's happening?
Yeah, that was played out and blocked and shot very well.
The Philip Baker Hall, he talks about from a style standpoint, Paul Thomas Anderson didn't really talk about style. This is how we're going to do this or anything like that. He said he didn't really talk about style. He said the style is in the script. The power of the script determines the style. I'm like, all right. Sometimes I do want to check these scripts out. When we did the Nicolas Cage film, Family Man. Went to that script to kind of find out more about some of the characters in there, specifically the prostitute, or the
friend with benefits.
There you go, because it's not official yet. But
true.
Just to kind of read to see what what's under there, because sometimes it doesn't play across on in the actual movie.
Maybe she got the money up front.
Maybe it was in the escrow. That's what I'm saying. But they never talked about it, so it's not official.
That's true.
There was a scene when John and Sydney, they're driving to they were traveling to Vegas, right? To Nevada.
In the very beginning?
Yeah. Or yeah, they were
in Vegas.
I did notice a jump cut. You know, it was a jump cut. He was like in the back seat, and then next thing you know, he's in the front seat. I'm like, oh, it was an interesting jump cut. But it turns out that he had actually lost a reel of film of him actually getting out. So he had to figure out a creative way to include this jump cut. And I thought it was kind of refreshing to see it.
I missed that initially. I think I got up to whatever I was playing, and I missed. I didn't see it the first time. Excuse me, but I saw it during the commentary. I was like, "Oh, it had no bearing on my movie watching experience." I'm like, okay,
yeah. But yeah, that's all I got. Overall, Hard 8. What do you think?
I give it like a 6.
Yeah, I agree.
It's an okay film. If you come across it and you're just curious, if you're, I'd say if you're a big fan of Gwyneth Paltrow and you haven't seen her in this film, then it's worth checking out. If you kind of like noir, it's kind of a noir slow burn. If you're a John C. Reilly fan, it's not his best film.
Yeah, it's to me, it's more of like studying the film work of Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah,
that's kind of what attracted me to it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna watch it one day. Just when, don't know. For studying him as a filmmaker, it's like seeing the progression. It's like, okay, what made Boogie Nights so good? And honestly, I think what made Boogie Nights so good in comparison to this, because he said he wrote this film in like 2 weeks, and with Boogie Nights, he spent a long time with it, and I think that kind of shows.
Yes,
it doesn't seem refined.
Even though they sat with it for 2 years, so this had to go through some revisions and changes.
Yeah,
but it's just a super simple.
Yeah, it seems like probably that time wasn't spent necessarily on the structure of the script or anything like that. It was more on, okay, how do we raise money for this thing?
Yeah.
So anyhow, I feel like that's probably spend a little bit more time with the script in the development stages. But anyhow. What are we watching next time?
Next time we are diving into the Florida Project.
And you can catch us where?
Facebook.com/Filmmaker Commentary. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, and Spotify. Please check us out. Leave a review. You can find us on social media. On Twitter, he is at Reggie Titus. I'm at KCG Smith 32. We're also on the gram at Filmmaker Commentary. He is at Reginald Titus Jr., that's JR, and I'm at KCG Smith 32.
Until next time, peace.
Respect. I was holding my breath. I'm like, will he hit it? Will he get the button? Suspense.
Right?